Alright, time for the video on the angle side angle and angle side congruence paper here. On a lot of these, like on the first one, you're supposed to state if the two triangles are congruent. If they are, how you know. We're gonna be using these two congruence theorems, and here's gonna be an example. On number one here, you have two pairs of angles that you know are congruent. That's what these little arcs mean. Well, something that's not marked on there, but is true about the two triangles, is that they share this side here, and so that side is congruent for both because they share it. It has to be the same length on both triangles. So this one is congruent, so this would be they're congruent by angle, side, angle, and that comes from the order. So you have the angle, the side, and then the angle. It goes in that order, and so that's why we're using angle, side, angle. Moving down to number 3 here, something to notice is you got that pair of angles matching, and then these sides matching. There's a pair of angles not marked on here, and it's these two angles here. Those are vertical angles, so they're congruent. So here we have angle, angle, and then the side. Instead of having the side in between, we don't know that one right now, and so we can't use that congruence. We have to use the angle, angle, side congruence. So this one is congruent by angle, angle, side. On 2, we again have two pairs of angles that are congruent by the markings there. The upper triangle and lower triangle share this side here, and so they are congruent because you have the angles and then the side in between them, so you're looking at angle, side, angle. On 4, you have two pairs of sides that are congruent, and that's all the information they give you, and so really all we have is side, side, and that's not enough information, so these ones are not congruent. On 5, something to notice rather quickly is you have vertical angles here in the middle, so those two angles are congruent. You have an angle, angle, and then a side. Angle, angle, and side. And so here you have congruence by angle, angle, side. On 7, you have 3 pairs of congruent angles. And so really you have angle, angle, angle. Well, that's not one of our theorems, and that's not what we're even using on this assignment. And by the way, that is not a theorem for congruence, and so you can just write not congruent. I wish I could write better with this pen. Moving on to 6, it's looking like we have 2 pairs of congruent sides, and so we have SS, which is not enough information, so these triangles we cannot say are congruent, so not congruent. Not congruent. Moving on to 8. Again, anytime you see this X here, just make the little marks showing that they're congruent, because they're vertical angles. Anytime you have two lines intersecting, opposite angles are congruent there. And so it's looking like we have a pair of angles, and then another pair of angles, and then we got the sides congruent. So the order is angle, angle, side. And so something to realize, notice how this side that we know is not in between the angles we know, and so that's why angles here on the end of our congruence, our theorem here. Moving on to 9, we have 2 pairs of angles that are congruent, and since these two triangles share this side in the middle, that side is congruent for both triangles, and so we have angle, side, angle for our congruence. These triangles are congruent. And on 10, we have 2 pairs of angles, and these two triangles share this side right here, and so that side has to be congruent for both. And so if I go around looking at my list of what I know, I have angle, and then the side. I don't have this angle here for those triangles, and so my side is not in between the two angles I know, so I'm looking at angle, angle, side again. Moving on to the back, you have to state what additional information is needed in order to get congruence by the reason given. And so we need to look at our triangles and realize what we know already. This one's a lot like number one. We have these pair of angles here, and we know that this side is congruent for both because they share that side. Well, we want to get angle, side, angle, and so we have angle, side. Oh, we need to get this angle right there. And so we need those pairs of angles to be congruent. And as you're listing those angles out, use the geometry notation. This is looking at QCD. I need that to be congruent to angle ECD. Moving on to 12, I need angle, side, angle. I already have the two pairs of angles shown by the symbols here. And so we need those sides to be congruent. And so we need, not angle, but we need the side LK to be congruent with the side TU. Moving on to 13, automatically we know these two angles are congruent. Every time you see vertical angles, just draw the arcs. You'll at least have some additional information on there, if nothing else. So it's looking like we have two pairs of angles we know, and we want to get angle, side, angle. So we need to get the side that's between those two angles. We need this side CS to be congruent. That should be a squiggle. The side RS. Not PS, RS. Moving on to 14, again, anytime you see vertical angles, draw your arcs to show they're congruent. It's looking like we have an angle and we got two pairs of angles that are congruent on these two triangles. We're looking for angle, side, angle, and so we need the side that's between the angles we know, and that is side WV. We need that to be congruent. That's a horrible V. V, and it's hideous as well. V to be congruent with KV. Moving on to 15, we're looking for angle, angle, side. We are already given those two angles are congruent, and these two triangles share this side here, and so that side is congruent for both. Well, what angle do we need to know? We don't want this one over here, these ones over here, because that would give us angle, side, angle. We want to get these outside angles to be congruent, and so that would give you angle, angle, side. And so we need angle. I'm going to go say it like this way, so CTD. I want that to be congruent with angle CED. And that'll be what we're looking for. And finishing up on 16, we need to get angle, angle, side. We are already given two pairs of angles that match up. And so if you want angle, angle, side, that's going to have to match up with that side there. So it's looking like side XZ needs to be congruent with side LN. There's also another option, is you can get these two sides to match up, because that would give you angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. And so this problem actually has a couple answers. YZ can be congruent with MN. Sorry, MN. Okay. Yeah, and some of the other ones have a few answers, but this is just the one I caught right away. And there's your solutions.